It's Tuesday. What day is the trade deadline?
I don't know.
Kratz?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Because today, I just had to look. It's 29th today.
We do the show live every day, 1 o'clock Eastern. We'll be live for hours and hours on Thursday. How many MLB trades have happened today?
None that I know of.
0. We're saving everything for Thursday?
That's what Jim Bowden said yesterday. Did he not? Did he not say it's going to be a flurry at the end?
He did.
There was a trade last night. There was a couple of them.
Yeah, there were. We're about to get into those. I'd like a little more. Look, can you sprinkle a little more action for me? I mean, almost every team's going to do something.
What do you want, Scott? Let's all cater to Scott's needs. Scott, what does Scott want?
I just want a few more trades and not
they're going to come
20 on Thursday.
The problem is if you're a team holding a piece that they can sell, whoever that piece is, Eugenio Suarez. Luckily, he's okay.
Yep.
But you say you're holding Eugenio Suarez, and there's 7 teams out there that want him. Well, every minute you wait, the other team gets a little more anxious and goes, oh, well, I'll throw in this guy, or I'll throw in that guy, or this and that.
That's fine, but how about a team like the Orioles or a team like the Nationals? Teams that are not involved
but they need someone
in a playoff race.
They need someone to buy the guy.
And even if they've got a more secondary piece, the other teams are going for the primary piece, and then when they don't get him, they go to the secondary piece. Did
you not listen to the show yesterday?
What happened on the show yesterday?
Jim Bowden explained all this. He's like, the teams all want A, and if they don't get A, then they all pivot to B, and then they pivot to C and D and E.
Well, I know what I'm doing after the show today. Watching yesterday's show.
Yeah, seriously.
Because he missed it. Scott missed it.
I know how it works. I just would have liked some activity today.
But if you're a fan, Scott, if you're a fan of your team, you don't want your team to trade for somebody right now. As much as yesterday AJ said, they could get 2 extra games out of this guy. Yes, but if you're trading for a B player and you have to give up an A prospect, you don't want your team to do that.
So you're saying if the White Sox are going, we'll pick up Luis Roberts' option just to spite all of you if you don't give us what we want, you shouldn't give in? Yeah,
that's just them paying for a prospect. They're buying a prospect to get rid of Luis Robert.
But here's the thing. Is he worth $20 million the way he's played the last couple of years?
No, not with his current status. Absolutely not. That's not a $20 million player. But everybody thinks that he's going to go elsewhere and thrive. But until he does that, he's not a $20 million player.
So they're going to pick up the option for what reason?
To spite the league because they don't feel like they're getting an A-level prospect offer, a top 10 prospect.
You think picking up his $20 million option right now is going to make him play better?
No.
He's like, yes, yes, I got another year.
Keeping him, I think, might lead to him calling it pretty soon for the season and saying, hey, I'm a little banged up. I'm going to wait.
I don't think there's any way that Luis Robert Jr. is on the White Sox in 26. Unless something crazy happens that we don't know about, but I can't see them picking up his option. If they do pick up his option, not trading him in the offseason.
Mm-hmm. But then they're going to have to eat some money because he doesn't get $20 million in free agency right now. He doesn't. Not with his current play. I like the player. I think he's going to be good elsewhere.
It's been 2 years now.
Yeah.
Of subpar.
And before that, he was great, but he couldn't stay on the field.
Well, he had 1 year where he was unbelievable.
Yes.
Was that 23? 2 years ago.
Yep.
Oh, 2 years
23.
Ago. But even before that, he wasn't. He was all potential, injury, potential injury. Sounds like a couple other guys the White Sox had.
Some of them aren't playing anymore in the majors. A bunch of them. So, anyway.
I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting – that's why people are like, let's go get Luis Robert. Okay, you're going to pick up his $20 million option? Now, if he goes to a contender and he goes off, there's your option picked up, right? Let's say he goes to Philly and he goes crazy and they win a World Series. They might go, check, we'll pick that $20 million up.
But until then, he's on the White Sox, and it's not working in its current form. So all that and much more. We'll talk to Ken in about 10 minutes, but let's charge the mound and cover a trade.
Charging the mound.
All right, Erik Kratz, your former ball club, the Milwaukee Brewers, DFA'd Eric Haas and picked up Danny Jansen from the Rays, and they give up a prospect in – you want to pronounce that one for me?
Jodar Arianamo.
Okay. in the trade, infield prospect. And then the Rays actually backfill by getting Nick Fortes from the Marlins for outfield prospect Matthew Etzel. So let's start at the top. Kratz, Brewers fans, get Danny Jansen. Nice little defensive upgrade. A little bit of pop. He's got 11 homers this season. Are you satisfied?
Sure. I mean, satisfied with what? The upgrade over Haas? I always like Erik Haas as a person. I love his story, all that stuff. You need to definitely have somebody behind the dish that's going to play twice a month now. Like, there's no way William Contreras isn't behind the dish if this team is going to be winning. Now, maybe they feel like they need more of a veteran presence. I was confused by it, honestly, just because I didn't think that was an area that they needed to upgrade. Seems like a small move, but it adds a little bit more right-handed thump. Not a lot, but I feel like Erik Haas brings right-handed thump too. So I was confused by it, but it's kind of just a little blip on the radar. It's cool for Danny Jansen. He gets to go home.
Danny Jansen and William Contreras have almost an identical Baseball Reference WAR, almost an identical OPS plus. William's not been nearly as good as he was last year.
Here's my
Danny
thing.
Jansen is, I mean, he's not
Danny
a great
Jansen
framer.
Signed for next year's too? Next year also?
No, I think it's just a 1 year deal.
Is it a 1 year deal he signed? I thought he signed a 2 year deal with you.
I'll double check, but I think it's one.
1 year?
Give me a second. I'll
I'm
double
pretty
check.
sure.
Now, 1 year, $8.5 million deal for 2025. Had multiple year offers, but wanted to bet on himself coming off a down season.
Okay.
So no, it's one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're Danny Jansen, he was playing a lot in Tampa. He's going to go to Milwaukee and not play a lot.
Is that why he was sitting in the dugout for a while?
He's like, I want to play.
Waiting?
Especially as your free agent year, you want to play.
There he is. Still in the Rays dugout.
At least he didn't do what Randy Arozarena did last year and go sit in the stands while he could have been in Seattle.
Mariners fans are pretty happy with him, though.
Yeah.
And the Rays replaced him with Christopher Morel. How'd that go? Randy's having a banger year.
I know he is.
He's having
free
a
agent
banger year. I think he's got one more year after this. But anyway, for Jansen, Kratz, he might get more playing time than you think. I think you're looking at potentially 2 starts a week or more, and the Brewers making sure that Contreras doesn't wear down as they now look like a playoff team. Jansen is a quality AB, gives you some pop. He ranks well in some defensive categories and poorly in some others. Not good on the framing side, not good at catching runners, really good defensively, blocking baseballs, calling games, stuff like that. Always has a good rep there. Blocks above average, 95th percentile. That's important, especially in big games.
A lot of Rays pitchers. The
what
Rays
are you looking at me
pitching,
for?
Yeah,
What?
I mean, I can explain that because, and I'll say this based on the analytics of playing for the Rays, they want everybody to set up right down the middle, and they want their pitchers to throw the ball top of the zone and middle down. They're not going east to west off the plate down. So blocking, it's not subjective because it's a number. It is very – you could put the same guy in there and be 95th percentile. To me, the Brewers do value receiving, and historically the last 7 years-ish, they've brought guys in that have increased their receiving. So maybe they see a value that they could help increase his receiving. Again, though, do you really think that if your team is going to make a deep run in the playoffs, which I think this is what the Brewers are trying to build their team to do from here on out, like, it's not with William Contreras behind a dish? Like, you think they're going to go to not a platoon, but like a little bit less William and a little bit more Danny Jansen? I have a hard time believing that. You have to almost believe, if you're the Brewers, our offense potential is in William Contreras playing behind a dish. Or maybe they don't feel like everything else in the market is priced in their range, so they're looking to maybe put William at DH a little bit more and have somebody like Danny Jansen that they can play closer to a split role behind the dish. But Contreras, I think, has to be a guy till till Rhys Hoskins gets healthy, that has to be a stalwart in that lineup, even though he's struggling.
Yeah, and you just want to make sure that he's good to go for October. That's been a problem in the league, especially lately, is keeping the guys fresh and keeping their bats in a good spot. Catchers not wearing down.
Yeah, but William Contreras wants to play every day.
I know he does.
He wants
He's
to
still
play
going to play
every
most
day.
days. He's going to play 4 out of 5 days. I don't know. Instead of 5 out of 6. Play instead of 85%, play 75% of the time down the stretch.
Someone's at the door. Let me go get it.
All right, so let's step aside. Brewers won, by the way. We'll talk about that during the
Brewers
break.
in first place.
They are. Ken Rosenthal joining us next. FT fam, we have a special offer for you if you go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout. Get yourself 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. And you can see more information in our show notes. It's surfshark.com/foul. And why should they check out Surfshark VPN, Kratz?
Well, this is a no-brainer because I travel a lot and I'm online. I need to have that security. And as a former catcher, I need someone else to catch my digital threats online. Surfshark's the place.
It's time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today and enjoy their 30-day money-back guarantee. Secure your digital world now. Visit the link below. It's in the notes. Start surfing securely. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Check out surfshark.com/foul. Ty and Mile High in the chat said Contreras has broken finger. Maybe he can finally go to the IL. That story came out in May, I believe, when he was playing through a fractured left finger. Maybe that's partially why his numbers are down this year. I mean,
Maybe,
he was.
But I know this. He has. I mean, doing Brewers games, he's put a lot of pressure on himself. William has. Because he wants to perform, and his power has gone way down this year. He's lost his power.
Maybe it's the finger.
But he had lost his power before that.
Right. Okay. Well, this will help. It's good to have a guy that you know can start a playoff game for you behind the plate.
Danny
Has
Jansen's had a nice
experience.
career.
He's had a really nice career. By the way, real quick, the Miz, 40 pitch, 3-run first. And then after the game, he's like, yeah, I knew they couldn't get me. He said it in like the nice kid kind of way.
He also only went 3 innings.
I know.
He went 3 innings, dude. Like, I love you, Miz, but like, you got to go 5, dude.
Brewers offense put up 8-4 win over the Cubs. Andrew Vaughn homered.
Change of scenery, guy.
He's good.
Change of scenery, guy. He got away from the White Sox, and he has been one hell of a player for the Brewers.
Some left and never came back, and then some look like Andrew Vaughn right now.
Maybe just everybody leaves the White Sox and they get better.
No,
not everybody.
Roy Jimenez ain't playing Major League Baseball this year, is he?
No, he's in AAA, isn't he? Struggling. He was struggling, I thought.
So, there you go.
Who was?
Eloy Jimenez. Tim Anderson's not in the league anymore.
Maybe the White Sox shouldn't have been playing him in the big leagues.
Relegation. Inside Scoop time. It's trade deadline week. It's FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal, who just put out an article on buy, sell on the fence teams. Ken, so I haven't read it. I read all your articles. Haven't read this one because it just came out, fresh, hot off the press. What do you have for us in there?
Well, it's 4 teams that really are still not entirely sure of their direction. It's the Rays, the Giants, the Angels, and the Rangers. The Rangers have the best playoff odds of that group, but if they lose these next 2 to the Angels after losing last night, who knows if they'll push as hard as they might have otherwise. I believe they will. This could be Bruce Bochy's final year. This is a very competitive front office, a team that has played much better in the last 6 weeks or so. So I would expect that they still proceed on a buy course. The Rays we saw yesterday did kind of a buy-sell maneuver with the catchers, bringing in Nick Fortis from the Marlins and trading Danny Jansen to the Brewers. The Giants, like the Rays, have not played well of late. They're 2-10 in their last 12. I think 13-22 since the Devers trade. And the Angels, you never know with the Angels because you never know what owner Artie Moreno might be thinking. So those are the 4 teams I focused on. And it's really interesting to me, guys. It's almost like the playoffs right now for some of these teams. And their positions, their feelings about what they want to do literally change day by day. It sounds crazy. It is a little crazy, but that's where we are.
Ken, there's no way that the Rangers don't go in and buy somebody. Now, the Angels, like you said, is the wild card. We don't know because I just don't think the Angels, they're 4.5 out. They got like 5 teams in front of them to get to the third wild card. I don't see that one happening. But the Rangers are in right there for a wild card. They're half game out. They're gonna push in, and I bet you the Rangers think that they could probably catch the Astros, much like the Mariners think the same thing. Now, the other 2 teams, the Rays always try to buy and sell and maneuver like whatever. And the Giants, we just don't know because this is Buster Posey's first trade deadline. So, but the one thing I do know, Chris Young and Bruce Bochy, they're going to make a run at.
No, AJ, I agree with you. And there are some extenuating factors there. The luxury tax threshold might be one, so that might restrain them some. The other thing is they played so poorly in the first 2 months, it kind of haunts them a little bit. And they're worried that they're going to regress again. Now, I totally agree with you. This is, as I said, a very competitive group. And yes, all front offices are competitive, but we're talking about Bruce Bochy and we're talking about Chris Young. Those are 2 of the more competitive people you'll ever meet. So yes, I expect them to buy. But again, the point of including them was they're kind of in a position still where the next 2 days could influence them if it goes really badly. I don't expect it will. I don't expect them to change. They've got the best ERA in the major leagues. My goodness, you can win with that. But they're still not entirely there.
Ken, I want to get to potentially the best position player available on the market, and it's not Eugenio Suarez. You put out an article last night about Steven Kwan of the Guardians. Do you think he'll get dealt, and where could he end up?
Scott, I'm not sure he'll get dealt. I can't predict that. And obviously the Guardians are a team that generally set their prices at a high level and do not waver from them. And that frustrates other clubs at times, but that's their right to do that. They're every right to do that. And the way they see it, because they're operating in such difficult circumstances with low revenues, they have to be very disciplined about what they do. Now, Steven Kwan is a guy that has 2 more years of control after this. They don't have to trade him. They probably shouldn't trade him from a competitive standpoint. But with what has happened, losing Luis Ortiz and now Emmanuel Clase to non-disciplinary paid leave because of the gambling investigation, let's face it, their chances for 2025 are pretty much shot. So they may be at least more open to the conversation than they would be with Kwan. And yes, they will entertain offers, as all teams entertain offers for pretty much all of their players. As far as we know, there have been no progress or has been no progress in any extension talks with Kwan. So this is something they will consider. I would expect the Padres would be in there deep on Kwan, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, pretty much every team that would want to bat would be in on him. The question is, will the Guardians move when they have all these other opportunities to trade him? In the offseason, you could even expand the list of teams because it wouldn't necessarily include only contenders. They don't have to do this now, but maybe some team will push them to do it now.
Ken, stay on the Guardians here for a second. How big of a deal was the Emmanuel Clase news yesterday? And how much Jim Bowden came on to change their whole trade deadline? Is that true that basically they were going to move him, and now since he's off the table and he's on the restricted list, that changed their complete deadline plans?
Well, certainly they were talking about moving him. And it was something that, again, they were going to consider, and they would have to have their price met. Whether it was a certainty that they were going to move him, I don't know that anyone can say that. But what it did do, in my opinion, is really end any chance of them buying. Because at this point, you're down 2 significant pitchers. They were kind of right in that never land zone where they weren't quite sure what to do. Not playing particularly poorly, not playing particularly well. But now, come on. They know that they're not going to be a playoff team. They know that this season is pretty much shot. So that does change their direction, no question, because there was still some chance that they were going to buy And it seems now that that chance has been diminished almost to zero.
Trade deadline is compelling theater. Even more compelling is the Brewers and the Cubs are playing each other going into this trade deadline. How much are they going to be battling against each other? It's like David versus Goliath, large market, small market. We don't have any money. We don't spend any money. How is this battle going to play out? Or strategically with the organizations, how do you think they'll play it out against each other?
Erik, I don't think that they're looking at the same kinds of players. That's one thing. So, yes, the Cubs, we know, are really hungry to put a finishing cap on what they have on their roster. They want to top this team off. They want to get a starting pitcher, bullpen help, anything they can. Third base has also been an area where they've looked at. Matt Shaw has played a little bit better lately. I don't know that you make your decision on that. So we know the Cubs are hungry to act. The Brewers are the Brewers. And I've written about this at length, and they do things in their own way. Yes, they acquired Danny Jansen yesterday. They also have shown interest in Ryan O'Hearn and other hitters. Do I expect them to necessarily do something big? I actually would be surprised if they did something big. It's just not their style. But this is a team that we've seen. We saw it again last night. They compete no matter who they have, no matter how many pieces you take away. And they've got an extremely talented pitching staff right now that in some respects might be reshaped because you could trade a starting pitcher, Nestor Cortez, Jose Quintana, to get something else you need. There are all kinds of things that they can do. They would like to reinforce their bullpen as well because as good as it's been, kind of getting to the point now where you might be running on fumes.
Wow. All right. Speaking of a team that nobody knows, what are they going to do? The Padres. Why would they sell? People were like, they're going to trade Cease, and you said they might trade Suarez. Why? They're in the wild card. They have a 2-game lead in a wild card. Why would they sell? Why wouldn't they try? Listen, Preller's the master of trading guys and getting guys and making moves here and there. Why would they sell? I don't understand why people are saying, oh, the Padres are going to sell all these guys. Why?
AJ, they would only sell if it enabled them to get other pieces that would help them maybe even better compete this season. That's the whole point. They're not pure sellers, and they shouldn't be, as you just mentioned. They're a really good team. They're in good wild card position, as you mentioned, and there's no reason for them to sell. But when you have a farm system that is not as deep as it once was, at least in the eyes of many in the industry, when you have seeming payroll restrictions of some kind, we don't know exactly what they are. At that point, you have to be creative. And that is why you think about or talk about moving a Dylan Cease if it can bring you something else of great value to your team. We know what they need. They need a left fielder. They'd like to improve their catching as well. And if you trade Cease, you've got to backfill with another starting pitcher. So to describe them as pure sellers would be a misconception. That's not right. What they are is a team that is looking at all possibilities, trying to improve themselves for 26. I sound like a GM with the GM speak now, but that's what they're doing.
You should be a GM, Ken. You have the except you don't wear quarter zips. You wear bow ties, so
that's right.
Oh, I guess Mozeliak did that for a while too.
That's true.
But here's my question: we talked about Danny Jansen getting traded to the Brewers. Why wouldn't the Padres be in on a Danny Jansen? That seems like the perfect fit for the Padres. And the Brewers gave up an A-ball, 21-year-old kid in A-ball. He's having a good year, but you don't think the Padres could have thrown in one of them for Danny Jansen type?
I don't know the answer to that. And the Padres have a zillion balls in the air, and I just can't tell you exactly. But you're right. Danny Jansen would have been a good fit. What they're looking for out of that position is more offense. And Danny Jansen would give you more offense than Elias Diaz, who did have the walk-off last night, and Martin Maldonado.
All right, back to the Rays. We hit on the Rays a little bit, but you had mentioned about possibly if the next few games don't go the Rays' way, Brandon Lau and a Yandy Diaz, is their market more of like a, well, there's not a lot position player-wise because you said Steven Kwan might be interesting, but it may not happen. Is that just the Rays testing the market, or is that at the point in their contracts or at the point in their careers, it's to move on from those guys?
Erik, it's not something they want to do. what they would want to do is win the next couple of games and keep going forward and be the team that they were for about 6 weeks there when they were maybe the best team in baseball. They have not been that since. They're kind of like the Giants in that way, that they were in a good spot at one point and then suddenly they've entered this funk and they haven't really gotten out of it yet. So any idea of trading those guys would only stem from a reality that playoffs aren't happening and that maybe that would be best, given the state of the market, if they are pushed hard enough, to move those guys for the returns that they might get. Kind of depends on the next couple of games in New York. And actually, their game Thursday is an early start, 1 o'clock start with the 6 o'clock deadline. So that game theoretically could figure into this as well. I don't know what they're going to do. We saw yesterday, again, the buy-sell maneuver. That is generally what they like to do, but they can go in any direction based on kind of where they are and where they feel they are. One thing about the Rays that's interesting, their run differential, and this isn't everything, but it's something, is even better than the team leading the AL East, and that's the Toronto Blue Jays. The Rays are at plus 56, the Jays are at plus 35. So the Rays see themselves as a team that still can be rather competitive, but just has kind of gone bad at the wrong time.
Ken, I want to ask you quick about the Pirates. Holding out for the right prospect package, especially for a guy you have under multiple years of team control, makes total sense. But is there any truth to them still deciding if they want to trade Mitch Keller in general? If so, why? Because it's not like they've been trying to figure out if they're going to be competitive this year. This is something they should have decided for the last couple months.
They have been torn about it. And the reason they've been torn about it, and even Bednar to an extent, though I do believe he'll be traded, is these guys are kind of central to who they are right now. And you might say, well, Ken, they stink right now. Very true. But both are perceived as leaders. Both are outstanding performers. And Keller, in the eyes of some, is only getting better. So you might look at this and say, wait, we want them to be part of our future and not guys who we're trading off for impact offensive players if they're even available. The problem with keeping them is you're not going to spend money. We know they're not going to spend money because they're the Pittsburgh Pirates. So if you have any chance to get impact offensive talent back in return for these guys, Keller in particular, with the years of control he has, in my mind, you have to do it. But they know the value of those players to their own organization. You can envision a world, if you were spending money perhaps, where you were building around those guys. I just don't see that world existing for the Pirates. It seems to me that they have to move Keller and Bednar. And I understand where they are, and I understand the difficulty of Ben Cherington's position. He's under fire. He has his job in question for next year. But in this situation, GMs generally do what is best for the organization. What is best for the organization right now is to trade those guys, both of them, Bednar and Keller, and get as much as you can offensively back.
Okay, Ken, last one. It's quick. It's a one-team answer. Where does Eugenio Suarez go?
Ooh, well, let's assume he's healthy because he did get hit in the hand last night. My guess would be Mariners.
Wow.
Okay. Reunion.
Okay. I think they'll pay the highest price for him.
Now,
so good.
Guys, that's a guess. And again, when we look at all these trades that go down, when we pick up our heads on July 31st, even August 1st, and look at everything, think about how many of those deals we thought were coming and how many we had no idea about were coming. It's going to be very much tilted toward we had no idea.
Well, we love that. We want all of the shocking moves. Ken, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll catch you soon, okay?
Thanks, guys.
FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. Fair Territory's back on Thursday after the trade deadline. So they can do all kinds of recapping. Ken can tell you everything that went down. We'll give you the exact time when we get closer to Thursday. Swinging right back to talk about Eugenio Suarez and his finger, along with the Cubs locking up their president of baseball ops long term. Kratz, at some point, we're going to laugh about how healthcare was so reactive and not proactive, and we're starting to change that with Superpower. They believe every human has 100-plus year potential, and they're here to help you get there. I'm a big believer in this. I just started the journey, so I'm excited about it. And what do you think?
As a player, you're always looking ways to improve yourself, improve your health. And this is an easy way. Superpowers made it way easier than when I was playing. You had to go get all these lab panels, and it was a long, drawn-out, expensive process. But now with Superpower, so this is awesome for me. I'm excited about it.
They'll send a licensed professional to your home, or you can visit a nearby lab. For a limited time, the FT fam can get $50 off an annual Superpower membership by using code FOUL at checkout. Just head to superpower.com and use code FOUL to get our exclusive discount. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and please support FT and tell them we sent you. Hey, we're back for the TV crowd in 2 minutes while we've got a moment. This from Alden Gonzalez yesterday after the Giants lost to the Pirates. Pirates have won 6 of 7, by the way. They're just having fun playing spoiler. The Giants are 13-22 since June 15th, worst record in baseball. 132 runs during that time period, tied with the Pirates for fewest in the sport. Devers has gotten going lately, but it is yet to matter. Their entire offense is down bad. So they are not who we thought they were before the trade.
I don't know if I would say that.
It's not like Devers is killing the team.
No, Devers is not killing the team, but he's going to get a lot of hate, love, whatever you want to say, because of
it's a great play,
what he was traded from. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's not like Jordan Hicks pitched well last night for the Red Sox.
No.
I don't know.
Neither did Carson Whisenhunt, who was a big prospect called up for them. Super shaky first couple innings. Didn't have his changeup. It was flat.
Scott,
classic.
how'd your major league debut go?
I never
exactly.
The Devers trade?
Terrible.
Really?
Yeah, terrible.
No knocks?
Oh, well, I came in the middle of the game. First throw, I threw it over the water in center field at Anaheim. First throw to second. In between innings, I think it hit the water on the rocks out there in center field.
Incredible.
Nobody can ever tell you the first throw that you make on a big league field when it matters isn't the most nerve-wracking throw possible. And it wasn't like you're talking about like a throw in between innings, right, AJ?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like it looks like there is a mile behind the second baseman. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to screw this up. And
you know who else was bad yesterday? Hot corner, let's sizzle. Eugenio Suarez hit by a pitch for the second time in the last couple weeks. He was hitting the All-Star game and was okay. It hits the left index finger. Gets x-rays. It's okay. He's going to get more testing today. This is the prize of the trade deadline position player-wise because if he's healthy, he's getting traded. We talked about Kwan earlier. He's not necessarily getting dealt. X-ray's negative, so that's good. 96-mile-an-hour fastball to the finger, not great. Everyone was like, oh, yesterday. And just even for him, good dude, having a great season. It just sucks. Crappy timing.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness the X-rays are negative.
Mm-hmm.
If he plays today, that's a good sign. And guess what? Enjoy your last couple games in Arizona. Because if he plays, he's not going. He's not going to be there. Good dude, hits homers, great time to do it. If he goes back to – would he want to go back to Seattle? I mean, he doesn't have a choice, but would he want to go back there? Because
it's a touchy subject.
That's why when Ken said that, I was kind of surprised by that answer because he was already there.
Touchy subject. So I brought this up on Friday, and it was probably a top 5 fan attack moment in my FT career. Mariners fans lost their minds. You guys, we didn't even talk about this. I talked about this on Hot Sheet, the Baseball America show yesterday. How dare you? He loved his time there. The Mariners love him. Okay. We'll see. Maybe he does get traded there.
I don't know. Did they? I don't know the answer to that question.
They very publicly stated how much they hated their strikeout-heavy offense.
Yes,
and
that's why they traded him.
It was him and Teo. They did call him out, but Mariners fans, there's some smart ones that bit back for me. But they're saying, like, I'm hating on them, which is funny because you always say I love them too much. But I'm hating on them. How dare I? I'm literally just alluding to public comments. They're like, Gino said he loved it there. Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that because they said I I was mentioning how he said other teams that he was loving, and there was a time he was asked about the Mariners. Like, oh, every team he's getting asked about. Yeah, they're great. They're great.
He
they're
loves
great.
every team right now because he's about to be a free agent. So of course.
But,
I mean, he loves every. I love. What did Vlad Guerrero say? I'd go to the Yankees now, miraculously, because I'm going to be a free agent.
yeah, but let me
Come on.
let me let you in on a little secret. When they sell you for parts, I mean, the prize return was Sebi Zavala, who's a third string catcher.
Anymore?
I don't know, but they just dumped the money and they were like, not for us anymore. And then he had 2 banger seasons.
Don't glaze over the fact.
My question is, they want him back, Kratz, but are they going to? They clearly are interested in him. Are they going to pay the top price, or somebody else valuing him more? I think there are other teams valuing him more. That's all I was saying.
Listen, we're breaking down something that a GM said, or president of baseball operations said after they traded somebody, so maybe we're taking it too far out of context. But when you say, yeah, we only got rid of one real main piece of our team and we struck out too much, it's either calling out the guys that are there and saying you're not supposed to strike out anymore, or you're revamping the team to not strike out as much. And then they went and got, I think, Jorge Polanco, who had a career year of strikeouts. So I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a fracturedness there. And it's not from fans. It's not from all of that stuff. Like, I would say they are not going to be the highest bidder. I would disagree with Ken.
I do too. That was my point on Friday. I think there are other teams that will bid higher and consider him in higher regard because the Mariners are sensitive about strikeouts. They want contact, and that's been working for them. I'm like, why are you mad at me for this? The team's playing well. They're in a playoff position. I love their rotation. I love them too much the last few years. Their offense has come together. Obviously, Cal's having the season of any catcher's life. Randy Arozarena has been awesome this year, and I loved the Naylor pickup. Could Gino help them? No doubt. I just don't think they value him as high as some other teams do. They have the prospect capital. They have a top 3 farm system, so they can easily do it. But the Cubs can easily do it.
Seattle, then where does he go?
I think he's going to.
Like everyone says Houston, right? Houston doesn't fit for me though because they have Christian Walker for 2 more years. You have Isak Paredes, he made the All-Star team.
Yeah, but he's really hurt. Like he might not come back this year. We don't know yet. He's got like a severe
if he's out
hamstring
for
strain.
Then that makes a lot of sense.
Houston makes sense. Detroit makes sense. The Cubs make sense. There's 8
made
teams.
Sense until they went and got McMahon.
They're out, but there are a lot of teams that make sense for him.
So where does he end up? I asked Ken, where does he end up?
For me, Detroit.
Okay. Kratz?
I'm going to say one dark horse team, Phillies, but I'm going to say the Astros. I think he makes it. I think they know that the window for, some of these contracts is in the last year for the Astros. I think they want to push in. I think they see an opportunity, and Gino in any park is a dinger.
Yeah. You know who we didn't even know and mention? The Cubs.
I said Cubs. I said Tigers, Astros, Cubs sound interesting.
You don't think they want to hurt Matt Shaw's development?
No, I think they don't. They'll be in the same boat as the Mariners. I think they would love it. I just don't think that they would bid as high. I mean, kind of like we were talking about in the offseason with Alex Bregman. Bregman not going to the Cubs.
What about your old team, the Brewers? He would look great.
Oh my gosh, they should.
That's the one that.
That's the one. That is the one. I'm just a little less confident.
Division.
Yes, I'm a little less confident that they're going to be the highest bidder, but that's the one.
Because it's a 1-year deal. It's a rental. I mean,
it's a right-handed hitting power. Yep,
that's the one to me that makes.
And that makes that team. Like Ken said, and he even wrote in an article. I think it was last week. He was like, "Why should the Brewers ever do anything? They've always been the team that's just, thumbed our nose at the system and, everybody thinks we're bad and then we're in the playoffs again. Then we won the division again." But I would buck against that. I would say this is the time. You have not made it past Game 7 of the NLCS. Like, Brewers fans don't want the playoffs. Brewers fans want a World Series. They don't have one. They want one. They want a World Series victory. I think Gino would make the biggest impact on that team more than any other team.
I totally agree. I totally
100% agree.
I have a hard time seeing any other team make a stronger case than the Brewers for impacting that lineup. You're bringing a 50-homer bat into that lineup. And we went over this a lot last week. you will find playing time for Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz. And Ortiz
They
is
don't
not
care
hitting.
about that.
Brewers fans
Suarez is
care a
gonna-
lot about that. Brewers
First of
fans
all,
care a lot about that. Durbin's a great player, but he can
Durbin's
play
been
everywhere.
okay, but
He can play everywhere.
Let's not forget, Joey Ortiz hasn't hit.
That's
been a
why
little
for
better.
me, I'm like,
But he hasn't hit. Okay. But he's there to catch the ball. So if you can get Eugenio Suarez to make up for offense for not only Durbin, but also Joey Ortiz, like that's a good trade.
and the Brewers have consistently been good, but not in October.
Yes.
You need a bat that can change a game with one swing like Pete Alonso did against them last year. They've got some of those bats, but you need more of those bats.
I'll probably bring it up again even this trade deadline. Would Brewers fans have rather had Jacob deGrom for the last 2 months or Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns for the last 7 years? It's a question you have to ask yourself. Would Jacob deGrom in 2018 have pushed us to the World Series? Don't know.
Most years, a team makes a move that wins them a World Series. It's rare that you see a team in the past decade do nothing or do something light. Sometimes it's an under-the-radar player that ends up being the
Oh, in
name that's
2005,
an
we did
impact.
nothing except get Jeff Blum.
But that's a while ago at this point. And Jeff Blum
He did something pretty
did
big.
something pretty big.
He got one swing in the World Series.
Pretty
So it
big.
mattered.
Steve Pierce, Marco Scudero, I get it. But then there's also Justin Verlander, Jordan Montgomery. There's big names that have made impacts.
Who won the World Series last year?
Ahmed
Won the World
Rosario.
Series last year. Ahmed Rosario. Wait.
The Dodgers. What'd they do at the trade deadline last year? Exactly. You can't even remember.
Who did the Dodgers get last year?
They got Kopech. They got
Oh, yeah, they got Kopech.
Tommy
Tommy
Edman.
Edman.
Edman. Like I said, Ahmed
Huge
Rosario.
addition.
I meant Eddie Rosario. Nobody saw Eddie Rosario, the
Oh,
pickup,
yeah.
the 4 guys. Who else did the Braves get?
Jock,
Adam Duvall,
Soler.
Eddie Rosario, Soler.
Jock, Soler.
4 guys
Like
that year.
those are the moves. The moves matter. Jeff Blum, only move in 2005. I love that example, AJ. I love that example. Go kids. If you weren't born in 05, go look up what Jeff Blum did with his one swing in the World Series.
And Flaherty. We forgot Flaherty. Dodgers got Flaherty last year.
And Flaherty. Yeah, they did a ton. And they
I know,
needed
but
all
you
of
couldn't
those
remember,
guys.
Scott.
You didn't remember
I
either.
But I'm not supposed to remember. I don't get paid to remember.
I
You
don't get paid to remember.
Yes, you do. That's
No,
your
I
job,
don't.
Scott.
My boss doesn't give
You
a
didn't
crap
get paid
about
to play
me.
baseball.
I don't get paid for anything.
Yeah, okay.
I just show up for fun.
Yeah, okay. You shouldn't have got paid for that hat you wore yesterday, the way you wore it. I love the hat, but the way you wore it, don't ever do that again.
What
You don't
did
like
I
the
do?
you don't like the hair here? This thing.
So if you're wearing it
No,
up
you had
front,
the
how do you
hair.
wear it?
That's what I'm saying. My hair doesn't do that, though.
Okay, wear it frontwards the way you should wear it. First of all, every day. Okay. So no hair's allowed out. Got it.
No, but like that's like when you're like 7 years old. I can't even do it. This was you yesterday, like this. You
Hey,
look
have
like
you
a,
seen
you look
Happy
like
Gil-
a 7-year-old kid.
Have you
That's
seen Happy
funny. I'm-
Gilmore 2?
All right, that's it. Starting today, I'm not going to defend AJ anymore. Every single video that we put out on YouTube, every single one, go back, right? Says, oh, why are these guys wearing backwards hats? And every single comment gets a reply from me in a unique way.
Yours
And
is
it's
because I don't know
always
how to wear
defending
one
you.
forwards. That should be your response.
Well, I don't wear backwards hats. But
Or
I
as
always
producer
have an
lady,
answer for them.
the emo boy hair, which I mean is kind of funny.
Actually, one of them's like, why do they wear backwards hats every day trying to hide that they don't have hair? That was yesterday. And I was like,
What?
I got lots of hair.
Google AJ Pierzynski.
I'll tell you why.
Yes.
I tell you where I wear
Lots of
hat
hair.
backwards. And it's the same hair. It's the same hat I've worn every day on this show. It's because I don't have to comb my hair.
AJ's got lots of hair, and I could care less that I don't have hair. There it is.
Okay,
for
well,
all
I
those
was doing
people.
clearly I struck a chord with AJ with my hair coming out of my foul territory shop.com.
No, I love that hat. I love the hat. I love the hat.
Thank you.
It's just the fact that the way you wore the hat.
Well, we have
Nice.
new shirts. Baseball the way it should be covered. Only
We need a trade.
large independent media
here's my
platform.
question. I'm going to ask Mark this while we're on the air because he can answer my ear. How do I not have one of all of these?
What do you mean? We just gave you a whole care package the other
You
day.
gave me a hoodie and a something else.
Write down what you
I don't
want.
have a baseball the way it should be covered. I should have a mug. I should have one of them mugs. I should have that mug.
Homework.
Hit the scan button,
tonight.
bottom right of the current screen. Scan.
Yeah, but then,
Homework tonight. Write down what you want. I got a guy. Hey, Jed Hoyer got extended yesterday. Remember, Jim Bowden was on the last couple times saying, I can't believe that he's not extended. Hoyer gets the multi-year
How come
extension.
we don't know the terms, though? If you have to release the
public.
players' terms, why don't you have to release the GM terms?
You don't have to release the player terms. They just get released by insiders.
That's not true because everyone knows what everybody makes.
Right, because
Teams announce it.
No, not every team says the exact money. Some have that policy, some don't. I'm very sure on this one. I might not know what happened yesterday, but I am very sure that some teams announce it, like the Blue Jays will say the exact contract. Some teams do not say the contract terms, but it gets released by
the Blue Jays
insiders.
are a publicly traded company.
Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Or owned, whatever it is.
I'm just telling you, I promise you that some teams will announce all the money and some teams will not. It's actually funny. We're talking to Aaron Gleeman coming up in a minute about the Twins, and they won't announce anything related to their
Twins announced
team.
they're not doing anything again this trade deadline, like they have for the last 2 years.
They made a trade yesterday.
They've announced, but they trade.
They traded Chris Paddock.
Oh, yeah. The sheriff got traded.
Hey, I don't remember last year, but I remember yesterday most of the time. We've been
Jed
saving the
Hoyer's
Paddock news.
Contract, did he sign it yesterday or did it just get released yesterday as we don't know. To me, the articles I was reading, they were saying, now he feels comfortable that he can make these trades. I bet this happened way before, but just a guess.
Why would they announce it now then?
I don't know. Just right at the trade deadline so he could take the pressure off himself.
Yeah.
Before, I don't know how much time we have on this thing, but like Scott's had, I want to know why Kratz is Wallace's beach. Is that so he remembers where he's at? He's at the beach. I don't get it. It just says beach.
Yes. He knows this
beach, please.
beach he has in his regular studio, this suburb.
Just a beach.
Yeah, just a beach.
Don't be such a beach.
No, it's just weird because there's a whole wall and there's just one sign that says beach. So I don't know if it's
it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
That's true. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Should the Cubs have done that extension? I'm a yes.
I'm saying yes.
Yeah. I'm a yes.
He's built them back up.
And he doesn't control all the payroll. He has a boss. So if you feel like they should be spending as a top 5 market team, then you've got the wrong guy. I think he's done a really nice job.
He landed Kyle Tucker and got out from under Cody's contract. To me, I think it's a big win.
Matthew Boyd, how's that going?
Well, until last night.
Until last night. But still, having a great year. Hey, we've got Aaron Gleeman from The Athletic, also from the Smoking Hot Gleeman and the Geek podcast, joining us right now to talk Twins. Aaron, great to have you on, and we've been waiting for this moment to cover the Chris Paddock trade to the Tigers. We love a good AL Central trade. So how you doing, and what did you think of the deal?
I'm just glad I didn't wear a hat backwards or forwards for this, and I have no writing in the background here for me, so I think I'm safe in that. AJ, I think you look good, and I'm jealous of your hair. So however you want to wear your
Hold on,
hat.
Gleeman. What is that thing behind you? My eyes are bad now.
He's really judgy today.
Yeah, now I might have
Can
got
we go
myself into something.
Oh, it's a cow. It's like a cow. What is that? Like Morse code? What is that?
This is a man using his girlfriend's office and has no idea what the artwork is. So, and maybe lightly afraid to comment on it because she might hear this later. So I'm just gonna sit this one out. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
is that why there's
idea.
a picture of you two? Is that you two over your shoulder?
Yes.
Because you would never have that in your office.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
love.
even have an office. Yeah,
True love.
Yes. All right. So here's the question: What are the Twins going to do? Talk to us.
I already asked him a question.
He didn't answer.
You're
So we're going to
hijacking
the
my
next
question. No, Paddock first. Paddock first.
I was dodging the question. I think we're going to see pretty much that was the start of I think what they're going to do, which is Paddock is was one of 6 impending free agents that they had. I think he was probably, 3rd or 4th most valuable in that group. Harrison Bader, Willie Castro, Danny Coulomb, and then Paddock they traded. And then they also have Christian Vasquez at catcher and then Ty France. I think they're still sort of in the wild card mix. I mean, their playoff odds are like 10 or 15%, but I think the Paddock deal, doing it so early in the week, 3 days out from the deadline, I think signals they're going to trade all of the impending free agents that they can get some kind of value for. And, not that Paddock had huge value or anything, but they dumped a bunch of salary, I think $4.5 million, which I know that doesn't really mean anything except to the poll ads, the owners. But I think that was part of the equation with that trade. And then they got a catching prospect back who seems like a decent 19-year-old catcher prospect from the Tigers. But I would expect kind of that to be the first step with a bunch of very similar moves the rest of the next couple of days.
So are we talking Duran? Are we talking Jax? Are we talking Castro? Are we talking who? Are they going to go all in and just dismantle and start over? And then if they do that, how does Carlos Correa feel about that? Byron Buxton feel about that? Because these guys signed these long-term deals, and now they're kind of stuck.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't rule out them trading Duran, Jax, somebody like that, even maybe Brock Stewart, relievers who have 2 or 3 more years of team control. But I think they're in a position where they would need to kind of be blown away to accept one of those offers. I'm not saying they wouldn't do it or that might not happen, but I think their focus is going to be, you mentioned Castro. I think he's definitely going to be traded. I think Harrison Bader is definitely going to get traded. I think they'll probably find a small deal for Danny Coulomb, who can just be a second lefty in some contenders' bullpen. If they get blown away on an offer for a non-impending free agent, like some of the names you mentioned, I do think they're somewhat open to it. But then the other thing, every time I'm on, we talk ownership to some degree with the Twins. And I think the uncertainty of we're now 9 or 10 months in to the Twins having the team for sale and they haven't actually sold it. It's difficult, I think, for the front office to know what their future is. So to trade somebody who is a very good player like Jax or Duran, but also is team controlled, not just this season, not just next season, but 2027, I think that is a big leap for a front office and an ownership group that is sort of in flux right now.
Does that give not no hope, because they're still exciting players, but Twins fans like, oh great, we're just going to get a bunch of six more one-year rentals next offseason because there's no ownership drive or motivation or even direction if that's how this trade deadline goes. To me, if I were Twins fans, I would be more excited if we got rid of a Griffin Jax because of the return, because of what that could potentially be. But it could be another missing trade deadline or missing offseason because ownership situation just is still in flux.
Yeah, I mean, all that is definitely true. I agree with all that. And I mean, it is a very frustrating, low morale time last couple of years, basically, since the end of 2023 for Twins fans. Payroll got cut. Team has been underwhelming, all sorts of that stuff like you mentioned. I do think that it is viable if you get a great offer, especially for a relief pitcher. I mean, we know even the best relievers sometimes have a pretty short shelf life. They kind of burn bright, fade away a little bit. And if you can get multiple building block type of young players for a reliever, even if they are a reliever with 2 more years of team control, I do think that's something you can consider. But also, if I'm this front office and I don't know that I'm even going to be around next year, let alone 2027, because first of all, if new owners come in at some point, which obviously Twins fans are hoping for, they might bring in their own people to begin with. That happens a lot. And regardless of that, the Twins are about to miss the playoffs for the 4th time in 5 years. So I think it's fair to question the performance of this regime anyway, which has been in place since 2017. So I definitely agree that depending on the quality of the offers you're getting and the fact that Class A just got taken off the market too, could potentially lead to bigger and better offers for Duran and Jax and Stewart from the Twins perspective. So I definitely think they're smart to listen. And for that matter, if you want to listen on Joe Ryan too, I mean, I'm not against listening. Like, let someone try to go crazy and make you an offer. But I do think that the front office might feel like, do we want to enter into another rebuild or even a step back where it's not going to be good here for a couple of years? Where are they going to be here in a couple of years? Who's even going to own the team in a couple of years?
That was my next question, Aaron, is Derek Falvey's in charge. He's been in charge. They lost Thad Levine. But how handcuffed are they? How much are their hands tied by this ownership? I don't want to call it a problem, but ownership selling, we're not selling, we might sell. If we sell, Joe Polat still has to be part of the ownership group. Like, how handcuffed is Derek Falvey with this team and the payroll and the trades he's actually allowed to make?
I mean, we've seen, you mentioned it, the last two deadlines when they were in a position to be buyers, like clear buyers. I think 2 years ago they were in first place at the deadline. Last year they were in the first wild card. Their playoff odds at the deadline the past couple of years were like 70 something percent. Now it's 10%, and they didn't do anything. I mean, they brought in like a middle reliever each time and then ended up cutting that guy before the end of the season. And I think a lot of that was their overall lack of aggression as a front office, but it gets also back to what you just said, which is they didn't have any money to add anybody. And any deal they were going to have to make in the last 2 years would have to involve the selling team eating a bunch of money, which is going to cost you more prospects from the Twins' point of view, or would have to involve money coming in and money going out, major league for major league deal, which that's a very tough needle to thread all the time. I think this time around, any trade they make is going to be shedding money. They already shed $4.5 million with the Paddock deal because they included Randy Dobnik's contract in there too. You know, if they end up trading the 3 or 4 other names that I mentioned, Castro, Bader, Coulomb, etc., they're going to shed over $10 million. Now, am I confident that money will ever be reinvested in the team on the field? Absolutely not. I've been covering the Twins way too long to know that. But, it is, I think, a factor. But then the thing you have to worry about, would they get better prospects, let's say, for Chris Paddock? And I think they got a decent prospect. Enrique Jimenez is a decent prospect. But could they have gotten a higher level of prospect or maybe a second decent prospect if they would have eaten $4.5 million or $3 million in that deal instead of having the Tigers take it all on? And so I think that's another example of, yes, the payroll's been slashed since 2023. Yes, the front office's hands are tied, but even in a selling position, not, trying to maximize the money saved could hurt the return you're getting on some of these deals.
At the All-Star game, Byron Buxton absolutely squashed any decisions or talk about getting traded. He said, I have a no trade clause. I love Minnesota. Is that good for the Twins? Is that good? Yes. Oh, man, I get to keep my jersey for another, count of years. But you also sit there and you go, Byron Buxton, you kind of want to go somewhere that, may want to be investing in the team. Or is it just a, hey, that's neat, Midwest baseball, cool, we get to keep Byron Buxton?
There's a little of that. I will tell you that probably like many flyover states, the people of Minnesota, and I'm a lifelong Minnesotan, there's a little chip on everybody's shoulder because stars often leave here. Very rarely do non-homegrown stars talk the way that you just described Buxton talking, how he said, Minnesota's home, I don't want to leave, I want to retire here, on and on. And he didn't just say that at the All-Star game. He's been very consistent about that since he signed his extension a few years ago and demanded a no-trade clause, not because some players get a no-trade clause and they figure, well, I can get a little more money or leverage out of this if the time comes that they want to trade me. I think Buxton just got it. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He's got 3 kids and a wife. They like it here. He's comfortable with the Twins. They drafted him. They developed him. And yes, could he get traded to a contending team and maybe make a playoff run this year? Sure. But also, if you're a Twins fan, you want the players to believe it's not 10 years away, right? Like, no matter how bad this season has been and how frustrating last season's collapse was, you do want Buxton to believe deep down we could make a run at it next year. We can make a run at it in 2027. And I do think they have some of the pieces in place, which is why, trading Joe Ryan or trading Duran is a tougher decision than it would be, I think, for a lot of selling teams. But in general, I think it's a good thing for the people of Minnesota to have a superstar player who is a good dude and a good player on the field who actually enjoys being here and is making it clear he wants to be here. And I know everyone will go, well, but they could trade Buxton and they could get some massive haul. Okay, you get 2 prospects, maybe 5 years from now, one of them's half as good as Byron Buxton. Like, I do think there's a little bit of a myth of a rebuild. And the Twins have gone through rebuilds where you come out after 5 years of being terrible, you win a couple of division titles, and then that's all you get. That's sort of where they're at now. So I think in general, I like the comments Buxton said, and it's also just consistent with what he said the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh, I just want to stop you there. I came up with the Twins. I never wanted to leave. There was a lot of guys that I came up with that didn't want to leave, and they either got traded away or pushed out. So I don't agree with kind of what you just said. Like, there's a lot of people that I played with in Minnesota that wanted to stay there their whole career. Like, I was traded. Minkiewicz, he wanted to stay. He was traded. There's a ton of guys. Torrey Hunter left as a free agent. He got paid. They were never going to pay him. But there was a lot of guys, trust me, that wanted to stay. I loved my time in Minnesota. So don't just say, like, oh, no, I loved my time there.
I think that's a good point, actually, because he got paid. Like, he got a 6-year, $90 million, $100 million total because he had 1 more year of arbitration. And at the time, he was even more injured than he's been the last couple of years. So he took sort of a $15 million a year, which is not all-star level money, but there was the injury risk built in there. And so that is one of the biggest extensions the Twins have ever given out. And like you said, you had plenty of very good young players who were in position to get extensions in the early to mid 2000s. And the Twins just really didn't spend any money at that point. And they don't spend now, but they really didn't spend back then. And so I definitely see what you're saying, that a lot of Twins stars or borderline star players were traded away in past years. They had no choice. He's one of the few that's gotten paid. And I think, if this was a past regime or he came up with you at the time, like you said, when Torrey Hunter, he probably would have left already for free agency. And I think it's a little bit of a different situation just because he did actually get the extension that a lot of guys on the teams that you're talking about, which was a much more successful era and had all kinds of homegrown star guys, but they didn't really pay anybody, including, Torrey Hunter, including Johan Santana, all kinds
David
of
Ortiz, David Ortiz,
exactly.
Wow.
Kadir, Morneau, they all walked away.
Right.
True, yeah. Well, they kind of let Ortiz go.
Yeah,
they
that
let
one-
Ortiz go for nothing because
$2 million bucks is what they would have had to pay David Ortiz for the season that they cut him. That is even for the Twins, that's not much.
Yeah, it's not like they couldn't afford him. They just didn't
no,
evaluate
because
him.
they thought they had other guys coming.
They didn't
Morneau
like him.
was one of them, and also they didn't love 100 strikeouts. David struck out a lot, right? So they didn't love that. We were told, you don't strike out 100 times. Well, now 100 strikeouts is a greght year for most of the guys.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you only struck out 100 times. You're Luis Suarez.
He's a contact.
Yeah, seriously.
Game has changed. All right, so I'll finish the way we started. What are the Tigers getting in Chris Paddack? Because apparently some other insiders were saying that teams like the Rays were in on Paddack. That's according to John Heyman, although that one's kind of interesting because I thought the Rays are selling, but maybe they're buying and selling. Bob Nightingale said the Yankees were pursuing him. So clearly some teams were into Paddack, and he's always had that potential. But this year it's a 5-ish ERA, really bad in his last 8 starts, a lot of homers. What was going on?
I think you're definitely right. I was told that they had a handful of teams interested, which is how they ended up dumping the whole salary and getting a decent prospect back. I think I've watched a lot of Chris Paddack over the last 3 or 4 years, and the description you gave is right. Like, there are starts where you watch him and the fastball is 95 plus consistently, and the changeup is good, and he pounds the strike zone, and he controls the game. And you talk to him afterward, and he says all the right things, and you go, "Wow, this guy is really in control of what's going on, and I want to bet on him having a next 5 starts going really well." And then the next start he gives up 8 runs. And I think this year what we saw that's even different than the frustrating aspects from past years, strikeout rate went way down. I mean, when he came up with the Padres, he was a changeup pitcher whose fastball wasn't that good, but he got such swing and miss with his changeup. Now he's basically a 4-seam guy and works off that, and his changeup and breaking ball don't even get swings and misses. It's been a really weird kind of comeback post-second Tommy John surgery, the pitcher he's turned into. But I think from the Tigers' point of view, I know they lost Reese Olson for the season, so I'm sure they figured, can we just sort of inexpensively, in terms of prospect capital, fill the 4th or 5th spot in this rotation? Because they got to figure he's not going to start a playoff game for them, but they got to get to the playoffs. They can't exhaust their bullpen. And I do think, every 5th day, trying to get him through 5 innings is going to be a better bet just from a veteranness standpoint, strike throwing standpoint, than maybe some random AAA guy or some even lower wattage trade they can make. But I would be surprised if he had a big impact for the Tigers. Although I will say I'm a little bit intrigued by the idea that they could move him to the bullpen down the stretch, maybe at preparation for a multi-inning role in the playoffs. Because when he first came back from the second Tommy John in 2023, the Twins did that for a handful of appearances in September, and he was throwing upper 90s, borderline 100 at that point. So I do think, 4th or 5th starter for now, and then maybe shift to the bullpen in October could be somewhat intriguing for them.
I don't hate that. Maybe the strikeouts tick up for him there, and also the Tiger, because I know he's got the career low K rate this year, but the Tigers need swing and miss out of their bullpen. So maybe they catch fire there and make him a different pitcher for October if he's into it. Good stuff, Aaron. Good to catch up with you, man. Thanks for the time, and congratulations. You survived AJ Pierzynski.
Let's just hope no one else but us hears your review of the artwork before me, or I may be banned from the show. But always good to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you guys. I'm just kidding.
Your girl's like, so I was listening to FT again today.
Yeah.
And Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate you, man.
See you, boys.
Follow Aaron. Check out his work in The Athletic and Gleeman and the Geek Pod. Be right back. Daniel Bard joining us. Kratz, if I'm new to card collecting and I'm looking for the safest, most trusted way in the game to acquire cards or to buy a card, but not go through a ton of work where I'm going to the shows, I'm going online doing auctions, I want it all in one place, I'm going to
Arena Club. It's all in one place. You know you're getting a good price, whether you're buying it or you're selling cards. If you're new to it, you don't want all the other crappy cards. You can get the ones that you want. You can start your collection. And if you get them on Arena Club, your collection will look boss.
That's right. And may I mention, they also have Pokemon cards in those slab packs that we talk about every week. You can rip a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars because every pack has grails that are at least 20x the price of the pack. So get involved at arenaclub.com/foul. Use the code FOUL to get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. Trade deadline coverage marathon Thursday, 1 to 6 Eastern. You're watching right now. You're watching on YouTube. Okay, we'll be on TV too, but 3 bonus hours on YouTube leading right up to that trade. And yes, to break
Do I
down
get paid
trades.
extra for that? Because that seems like a long time.
AJ is going to.
I'm going to need at least a 3-hour break.
Caffeinate.
Can I just get off at 3 and then come back at 5:58 p.m.?
Unbelievable.
So you see what the rest of the trades are.
Yes.
Yeah. Whatever you want. Hey,
thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. 2 things. He mentioned at the back end there, the Tigers lost Reese Olson now for the year. He's a good rotation member there. And in that division, Kris Bubic announced yesterday from the team that he's done for the season too with the rotator.
Yeah, that's a sad one.
That is a sad one. Damn, what a year for him. This was the breakout.
Yeah.
That's a big blow.
Right? Shoulder? Yeah. Left rotator cuff strain is bad.
That is bad.
That's bad.
He was dynamite this year.
Yeah, he was good. He's always been a little funky.
But he got the funky right.
He's like funky low lefty slot guy.
I was thinking about that. Like, I always, maybe this is old school and not medical at all, but when you look at somebody funky, you're like, what is that going to hurt differently than other people? But man, he was having such a good year. Especially
2.5 ERA.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's like Yarbrough. He throws funky like that, and you're just like, man, that's got to hurt. But it doesn't because that's his body. Right, guys? Everyone throws a little bit different. Everyone hits a little bit different. Everyone runs a little different.
Hey, we've got Daniel Bard, longtime big leaguer who just announced his retirement, joining us here on FT. Great to have you on the show. Thank you for the time. Congratulations on the retirement announcement. How you doing? What a run, man.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for having me. It's been kind of a crazy week. Just getting back into dad life, you know.
What went into it? So I know, you signed a minor league deal with Seattle in June. You were in the AAA affiliate there. And then at some point, did you say, hey, this is time and here's why?
Yeah, it was actually really sudden and kind of unexpected even for me. Signed the deal back around June 1st. I was coming off flexor tendon surgery in my elbow. And I really just wanted to kind of give it one more run and go try to have some fun and make that, rehab worthwhile. So got to deal with the Mariners, had a chance. They sent me to AAA. Threw the ball pretty well. It wasn't in my peak form for sure, but it was enough to get outs for sure. But I went home from the All-Star break, and I fully intended on heading back to the team and at least getting to my next opt-out date, which was about a month away. And I don't know if you guys can relate a little bit, but it was at that point I went to head back, get on the plane the next morning, and I was packing my bags the night before. And it did not feel worth it anymore. My kids needed me at home, and there's still an urge to play in a way. Like I still love the game of baseball, which I think is a good thing. The last time I retired, um, 7 or 8 years ago, I was kind of burnt out and really just did not love the game. So this was totally different. This was getting pulled in a different direction by my family, and couldn't be more happy about it.
Doesn't that make it more relieving that that's the reason that you're going? Like, you're like, wait a minute, I can still throw, but you know what? Maybe I'm going to change some diapers. I'm not sure how old your kids are, but maybe I'm going to go chase around some kids at their field or at their dance or their swim, whatever it is.
Yeah, mine are a little bit older, and I think it was a little easier for me when they were babies. You get to leave the diaper changing, and now it's they got little league, and like you said, they got swim and gymnastics, and they got elementary school kid problems that sometimes you need your dad for. So you keep up as much as you can on the phone, but it's just not the same as being there in person.
Daniel, was that the moment? Like, what was that moment like? Did you pick up the phone right away and call and say, I'm done? Or did your wife give you a big hug? Did your kids come and give you a big hug? Because every time, I always say this, there's a moment for everybody. And you say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. As much as we all love baseball, there's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? It's like, all right, my kids are at an age. So that moment, was your wife crying and giving you a hug? Were your kids giving you a hug? And you called and said, you know what? No mas?
Oh, I was the one doing most of the crying, which is not like me, but that's kind of what led to it. Was I was packing up the night before, about 11 o'clock at night. I was supposed to get on a 7 a.m. flight back to Tacoma, and I could not. I put the kids to bed, left my daughter's room pretty emotional. I was like, because I knew I wasn't going to see him for over a month, and it just kind of hit me like a wave of emotion. Like, this is where I need to be. I don't need to be packing up and leaving these people right now. And it's always hard, this isn't a new thing where it's hard to leave your kids when you're not going to see them. But this was like 10 times the normal emotion that I feel leaving them. And so my wife and I talked for probably 2 hours that night, just talking through it. Like, what does this mean? Is it going to happen? And she was just extremely supportive. And she said, hey, if you want to keep going, we're here. If you want to be done, we're ready for you to be home as well. So couldn't have been more supportive. She left it up to me. And I'm grateful for that. She just supported me the whole way. And yeah, so I woke up the next morning. The kids were expecting me to have already left for the airport. And to see the look on their faces when I said, hey, we're done. I'm staying home from now on. And just gave me a big hug. And they love supporting me. They were always there. They love being in the clubhouse, but I think they were ready. So it made it feel like the right decision.
Before we get to your career, did your kids say anything? Because I know when I finally told my kids, I mean, I told them like the whole year that I was going to be done. It was COVID, so it was weird. But they were like, no, because they had just had, my boys were like, no, like, we get to go in the clubhouse now. It can't be done. And they started crying about it. And then it was like, so did your kids say anything? Or were they just like, cool, let's just go outside?
More the latter, let's go outside. My time in Colorado was really special. We were there for 5 years. That became our second home. Denver was the clubhouse. The kids were in there 2 or 3 times a week, jumping on everybody in their lockers. So they knew everybody from the security guys to the clubbies to the trainers. They knew everyone. Everyone knew their names. It was great. So that was home, but that ended last year, and we're moving on to a different phase. And I, gave it a little bit of a shot here with the Mariners and got kind of what I wanted out of it. I was hoping to get back to the big leagues, but honestly, I went into it just saying, hey, I'm going to prove to myself that this rehab worked, and that I got back physically, that I threw strikes, got some outs, and I wasn't planning on cutting it this short. That wasn't the plan at all. But that's just how life goes sometimes.
All right. As the resident minor leaguer here, I have to say, and I tell people this story, in 2008, I was in my 6th season, I think, in the minor leagues. I still hadn't been in the big leagues yet, and I was 28 in Double-A. and freaking Justin Masterson comes in and he's starting and he's throwing these bowling ball sinkers at 97 and 99. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I can't get a hit against him, but the rest of this Portland Sea Dogs staff, I can get a hit against. And then Daniel Bard comes in for like 6 seconds that you were in Portland and you were throwing 99 miles an hour. And I remember leaving that game in Portland saying, I'm never going to make the big leagues. If these guys are constantly coming out. So I want you to know that you gave me no hope to make the big leagues back in 2008 when I was still struggling to try to crack the big leagues.
You did all right, man. I just I was trying to help you out, make it look harder, make the next guy look a little easier. No, I remember that who were you with at that point?
New Hampshire.
Yeah. Oh, we played you guys a lot. Yeah. I knew I played against you. I just couldn't remember where it was. And yeah, those were some good battles, some good teams. I think there was probably 6 or 7 big leaguers on both of those teams. But yeah, that was one of those years where things were starting to click for me and I was trying to just ride the wave.
Did you think it was going to end up being the way that it was? I mean, obviously, we'll get into the things that you struggled with and stuff, but when you have that fast of an ascent and it was like you were hyped up. I mean, we were playing in New England. I was in New Hampshire. You were in Portland. Boston's, a quick cab ride down the coast there. Like, there was never any, question you were going to be part of the Boston future just epic bullpen. How were those years when you were like a pick out of North Carolina and coming through the system? Like, as a minor leaguer in the Boston system, you are always you are more on display than other teams other organizations because you're just in the minor league system from Lowell to, I get it, you go down to where were they in High A at that time? Greenville, but then you're in Pawtucket, you're in Portland. Do you feel like you had a different experience during those years than other people would have as prospects coming up?
I think so. I mean, this is, pre-social media. The internet's not what it was now. So, but the Red Sox fan base has always been rabid, and they know their guys. They know who's drafted high. They know who they gave money to, and there's always been a presence, online of just fans that care a lot, and you kind of get blown up. And to say that I knew I was going to be a part of that, Red Sox team in a few years, I didn't. I mean, I hoped I would, and I knew I had the talent, but that was, we could talk about that more, but it was always, I felt like I had to earn it. And it never felt automatic to me. And my first year in the minors was awful. I mean, I was terrible. I was the worst pitcher on my A-ball team. A year after being drafted in the first round, which is not a very good feeling. So I think the year you're referring to was that second year when they moved me to the bullpen and things started to click. But it was never felt automatic by any means.
Daniel, people that don't know your story don't understand what you went through. Leaving the game, you had the yips, right? You had the yips. You couldn't throw a strike, whatever it was. Can you explain how you came back from that? Because nobody comes back from that. And you did it. I mean, it took some years, but you came back and became a very effective major league pitcher again.
Yeah, I mean, I describe it as I think for the yips to happen to someone, and in my case in particular, I think there was no one event. There wasn't one day where I was like, oh, I've got it. It was a gradual thing over the course of probably a year plus, kind of a perfect storm that set in. I think there was some underlying physical condition stuff going on. I had some TOS. And then you have the poor results, the velo diminishing, command getting a little bit worse, and then you start mentally going, shoot, something's not right. Why am I only throwing 92 and it's not hitting the right side of the plate that I want it to? So you start trying harder. It's this perfect storm, and your body's not, I was 3 years with 75 plus appearances. I wasn't hurt, but at that point your arm's kind of hanging. 3 years in, pitching in playoff races. And, it kind of just the wheels fell off in that fourth year. So for me, it was like a perfect storm for it to happen. And it was kind of a perfect storm for me to get out of it. I grinded through the minors for the next 5 years. with very little to show for it. Got a handful of innings in those 5 years. It wasn't much. Just throwing a lot of bullpens on backfields, down at spring training sites. A lot of extended spring time, which is not where you want to be as a 4-year big leaguer. But I can honestly say I wouldn't trade it. Obviously, it would have been nice to have those 7 years of big league time and big league salary, but for what it did for me as a person, um, kind of resetting me, bring me back down to earth, helping me have a little more, empathy for people going through different um, mental health issues, mental health challenges. I didn't know anything about that world going into this, and when it happened to me, and I had to deal with my own stuff, it just helps you feel for people that go through all sorts of things. And the brain's a crazy thing, man. We still know so little about it. I mean, I've talked to every supposed yips expert there is out there, and there's some really smart ones, but the good ones will admit that it's they don't have it figured out. And I would say the same thing. I don't have it figured out. I don't have a magic pill or an answer, but I do know that when I retired in 2017, the 2 years I spent coaching, I think that was the best thing for me. Totally moved on from playing, no interest in doing it again. And I just kind of poured all my energy into being a dad. And then I took a coaching job with the Diamondbacks, and I was kind of mentoring their minor league guys. And part of that was telling my story, my ups and downs, which I had never really talked about before. I'd kind of kept it all closed up. And I think that was kind of my therapy, was telling my story 50 times to a bunch of different minor leaguers and coaches, and getting honestly a lot of positive response. I viewed myself as a failure at that point, and I would tell my story, and the response I would get was, "Hey man, that's awesome. You got 4 years in Boston. I'd give anything to have 2 days in Boston." I'm like, yeah, yeah. If you look at it that way, and then other people would say, "Man, I can't believe you grinded through it for 5 years. I would have quit after a month." I was like, yeah, yeah, it might be stupidity too, but yeah, I guess I did grind. I did grind for a while. And so I started to view my own story just a lot differently, and in some more positive light. And slowly, just I was playing catch with some guys, which I couldn't do for a long time. Couldn't I throw half the balls over their head. And I was playing catch with some players that I was coaching, and started to come out good. Started to feel fun again. And just kind of that second year coaching, it kind of just got better and better as the summer went, to where players started saying, "Hey man, you need to play again." I'm like, "I can't do that. I can't grind through that again. You have no idea what I've been through." And I kept hearing it from them, kept hearing it, and it just planted a seed that I took into that off season and kept throwing, got my arm in actually game ready shape again, and just to see what was there. And I threw a bullpen, and it was 95 for strikes. And I couldn't believe it myself. And my wife told me at that point, she's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Probably go back to coaching." She was like, "Well, if you do that, like this is gonna eat at you for the rest of your life. Like, you got the ability to throw back and then didn't do anything with it." So I was like, "You're right. We got to do this." And so called my agent out of the blue. He's like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "I haven't heard from you in a while." I'm like, "Hey, man, I need you to set up a tryout." I could hear it in his voice, like disbelief, like, "Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, we can set that up." I think he knew that like teams might just completely laugh it off, but it worked out, and I'm thankful to the Rockies and the other teams that showed interest, and it worked out beyond my wildest dreams.
What's the someone if someone else is going through the yips right now, maybe you don't want to use the word yips, and maybe I kind of
I'm
hear
fine
that.
with it. I
Okay,
No,
I didn't know.
I'm good with it. I know some people are uncomfortable. I've lived it my last 10 years, so
What's the
um,
hardest? What's the hardest part? Is it thinking everybody's going to see you throw this ball over that person's head, or is it the physical? Like, I am so focused on throwing there, and it is not connecting. My brain and my arm are not connecting. Which is harder? Because when you're throwing on the side field, you say you threw thousands of bullpens without ever getting in a game. You knew other people were watching.
yeah, I mean, sometimes it was me, a catcher, and a pitching coach on a backfield, and I still couldn't throw a strike. And it would be like a pitching coach that I loved. It wasn't someone I was like scared or trying to impress. When it's there, and it sucks. But yeah, The embarrassment is probably the worst, when you do it on a bigger stage or you're throwing a bullpen in front of teammates or coaches, and you want to show them how good you are, and it just doesn't want to happen. So that the embarrassment is rough, but I think when I'm sitting there alone in the bullpen throwing to a net and I still can't make it do what I want it to do, the frustration is just unimaginable.
Hey, Daniel, quick question for you about your Rockies experience. I know
Yeah.
they gave you a shot. You had a good time there. What did you notice there that was missing, and how difficult it was for, let's just focus on pitchers, to survive the environment? I mean, really, if you look back, they had some success early in the, kind of expansion years. Then there was the little run towards the end of the tenure for Dan O'Dowd. And now it's been a long time where the Rockies are really in abyss. So what are you witnessing there last time you were around the Rockies organization?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot in my time there, just what it's pitching at altitude, what it means, what it does to the baseball, all the effects that it has. And I just think they were behind on figuring out analytically what the ball's doing differently. I think they're starting to catch up now, but I think they were a little bit of an old school mindset, old school scouting team, I think until very recently. And I think that hurt them. That you play in the most unique environment in all of baseball, and you got to be ahead of the game. You got to find a way to make that place an advantage and not a disadvantage. Because every team that comes in there to play you should be more prepared for that environment than they are, and that's just not how it's played out the last few years. You look at the Rockies teams that have been good, and they dominate at home and they play, close to 500 ball on the road. And I think that's the only way they're going to have any kind of sustained success. So, you know, I know the pitching group that I was there with was working hard to figure out ways to pitch at altitude. And then you have the problem of taking what you do at altitude and then how do you pitch on the road and have success in both places.
Oh,
It's equally hard, I think, for hitters. They're seeing the ball move two different ways, home and road. And I don't know the solution for that. I think they're starting to use more of the velo machines and the spin ball machines to see that movement, when they do leave Denver. I think that's helped a little bit. You see guys like Hunter Goodman going off, Mickey Moniak's having a great year there. So it can be done. It's a hard thing to sustain, though. It's just a tough environment. There's so many things working against you.
all right, Daniel, before we let you go, I will be remiss if I don't ask you, how in the world did your 2006 UNC team not win the national championship? You had 2 first-round picks in you and Andrew Miller. You had Iannetta, Rob Wooten, let me see, Fedorovich. I'm looking through this roster. Who else did you guys have? Adam Warren was on that team.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, this team was loaded for Bear, and you guys didn't win the World Series. What the heck happened? And why did Andrew Miller go to UNC instead of Florida? It still drives me crazy.
Well, ask Andrew Miller.
I don't know, but I'm glad he did. We're still good friends, and I think he wanted to get out of Gainesville. I mean, who wants to stay in Florida, right?
Yep. Facts.
Anyways, no, we were a good team. I look back on that. It's probably my fondest baseball memories was that year, that run with that team. And I don't know if you noticed or when you looked this up, but we were in the game of the national championship, and we lost 3-2. So we were about as close as you could get without winning it. Oregon State got us 2 years in a row, so I still hold a special place in my heart for them.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, I knew you guys made it far, but let me guess. Andrew couldn't throw a strike in that game, so he walked a couple guys, and that's why he lost 2-2.
No, he was dominant that year. So I pitched the third game. I pitched into the 8th inning. He came in relief for me, which was, I think, his first relief outing of the year. It was just kind of a winner go home game. And he was throwing 100 out of the pen. So they scratched out a run. I think we made a couple errors. I think I made an error at one point that cost us a run. So it was unfortunate. It came down to one game. Anything can happen.
True. That team was good. That team was loaded, by the way. Loaded.
Their team was. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The UNC team. Was that the Ellsbury Oregon State teams when Jacoby Ellsbury?
No,
and-
Ellsbury, he's a year older than me, so he left. He got drafted the year before, 05.
Okay.
They had Darwin Barney,
Yeah.
Mitch Canham, who I think is coaching there now. They had some good team. They had some scrappy arms too that could just great college pitchers that they could spin it and they could throw strikes. They could get outs.
Got it. And will Belichick lead them to the national championship in the next year?
I hope so. If anything, win or lose, it's going to be entertaining. So I'm looking forward to the fall.
Yeah, now
Get
you
that
got some
checkbook
time.
out for him.
Now you
Get
got
that
some
checkbook
time.
out for him, Daniel.
Daniel, this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the retirement announcement, and we'll hit you down the line.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, same here, man. Thank you. Daniel Bard announced his retirement, joined us on FT. Great story. Hey, have you heard of Built? No? Do you pay rent? Yes? Okay, good. Let's talk. There's no cost to join, and just by paying rent, you unlock flexible points that can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and much more. When you pay rent through Built, you unlock two powerful benefits. First, you earn one of the industry's most valuable points on rent every month. No matter where you live or where your landlord is, your rent now works for you, and you gain access to exclusive neighborhood benefits in your city. Built's neighborhood benefits are things like extra points on dining out, complimentary post-workout shakes, and much more. Unique experiences that only Built members can access. And when you're ready to travel, Built points can be converted to your favorite miles and hotel points around the world, meaning your rent can literally take you places. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, what are you waiting for? Start paying rent through Built and take advantage of your neighborhood benefits by going to joinbuilt.com/foul. That's joinbilt.com/FOUL. Make sure to use our URL so that they know we sent you. Hey, we're here. Just a quick couple minutes on the games yesterday. Padres Mets was really good. We're going to get into the umpire situation there, but Tatis made a sick 2-run home run robbery catch, and then actually Vientos got him. Next AB with a grand slam, got past him. A little more juice on that homer off of Dylan Cease, who is very interesting this year. Can't figure him out. I mean, I think the ERA is north of 5.
It's like
right?
4.7 or something.
Oh, is it 4.7? Yeah, it's not great.
No, nobody can figure it out,
No,
including the Padres.
they can't, and they might trade him.
I mean, pressure in a free agent year. Come on, like it's a real thing.
It's true. That's true. It's a good call. Padres walked him off, by the way. They talked to Jose Iglesias during this series, of course. He's like pretty bitter about the Mets not wanting him back. So his dream season is to, he said, beat the Mets, I guess, in the CS and then go on to the World Series or something like that. He wants to stick it to him. So he was part of the win yesterday, the walk-off knock. So good for him. Elias Diaz pulled that off. And then Luis Robert is putting on a little audition for the Philadelphia Phillies. He hit
You have to go
a
ahead,
dinger.
Homer. Ruin my
Ruin your bet.
wager yesterday.
We'll do bets soon. But coming up next, spreading rumors. We got a fresh one from Jim Bowden. It's good generally for the market. We like to see this. Let's spread some rumors. Jim Bowden said the Sandy Alcantara market is picking up drastically and now looks like there is a real chance he gets traded by Thursday, according to industry sources. It sounded like they wanted the price of a number one starter or a Cy Young candidate. I have a hard time seeing any team giving up that level of package for multiple years of control, but maybe they have dropped their asking price a bit.
Maybe. I just don't know. Gosh, if I'm the Marlins, I just save him for the offseason if you're not going to get what you want here, because it opens up to so many more teams.
So
he's not a free agent.
Yeah, but what if he doesn't pitch well the next couple months?
Then you keep him, and you go into next year, and he gets off to a great start. You trade him at the trade deadline next year. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to trade this guy.
No.
He's the one guy on their team that's making any money. He's the one guy. The rest of the team is making nothing.
That is true. Who's the name you just mentioned who's pitching right now, too?
Charlie Morton. He's been pitching really well.
He's definitely getting traded.
He's pitching good against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's absolutely getting dealt.
Where?
He'll be a Cub.
Well, he was pitching really well. Oh, no, nice play by Cal.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, there are starters that will be moved. We're just trying to figure out if there are any starters that will pitch playoff games that will be moved.
Charlie Morton will pitch a playoff game for you.
You want him starting a playoff game for you?
He's done it before, and he's pitched really well in big games.
You guys are good with that?
7-game series? Absolutely. If you're needing him to throw game 2, but you don't know how you're going to get in. Some of these teams are going to get in on the last day of the season, and they're going to need to come right back around, and they're going to need a decent number 2 starter who's really maybe like a number 3 or 4, depending on how they roll into the playoffs, because you get in a wild card, it could be tough. And I think Alcantara, I think the Marlins are doing this right. Take it like you're going to take somebody, and then the rest of this season, even if you don't trade somebody, like you're looking for that trade, you're looking for what that value is. Rest of this season, now if Sandy Alcantara does better, you can ask for more in the offseason. If he does worse, you can say, well, okay, well, that's where the bar was at. If we're going to trade him in the offseason, this is at least what we need.
Bowden also added it's the most bizarre trade deadline he can ever remember. Some of the best starters are having subpar years. Cease, Gallen, Alcantara. Best closer, Class A, is in trouble or on admit leave for potential trouble. The best power hitter, Suarez, hit by a pitch. The best 2 center fielders, Mullins and Luis Robert, are struggling. And the best available DH, Ozuna. I didn't see the rest of the tweet, but he's not hitting well either.
Ozuna has a hip problem. He did go deep last night, though.
The other good available DH, Ryne O'Hearn, has been slumping for a bit as well.
Yeah, but track record.
Yeah, he's going to get sold off. But, I mean, I got a lot of heat from fans who didn't want Cedric Mullins on their team. And I'm like, I think he's going to play better the last couple months because his D metrics are down. He has slumped since the first month. He was real hot in April, and then it tailed off. You don't want Cedric Mullins on your team?
Oh, what the tweet? I do. End of the tweet said Ozuna has 10-5 rights.
So he gets to go where he wants. It's fair. Guys will get moved, but it has just been a slow market. Usually at this point, we have a little more activity than what we've had. You know what really means quiet? When Twitter notifications have been quite light today. They have.
Why do you have those on anyways?
Why not? It's
I'm
not like dinging.
I'm not a notification guy.
Why? How do you get your news?
I go on Twitter and look.
But then you have to keep going in.
No, but I'm not checking it every 5 minutes like you.
I don't have to do that because the notifications pop up for the people I'm checking.
And then, you should be an Apple Watch guy, Scott, where you're like, oh, look.
But then I'm really checking every 5 seconds.
I don't know. It's like your hat, Scott.
It's good for us to be different.
It's like your hat.
If you and me were the same, it would be boring.
If what?
If you and me were the same, it would be boring. It's good that we're different.
It would never happen, though.
What? You and me being the same?
Yeah.
The Reds, here's another one from Bowden today. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Phillies, and the Mariners are speed dialing the Twins at an annoying level with continued interest in Joe Ryan. Basically, their whole bullpen, like Jackson, Duran, Willie Castro, and Harrison Bader. Twins could end up being the headliner at the deadline as talks heat up, according to his sources.
Yeah, why not? Here's my question. With notifications, because I have them all off on my phone, can you just do foul territory?
No doubt. You should be doing that.
Can you do that?
Of course.
You just pick that one?
Yeah. When you go to the homepage on Twitter, any particular account, you hit the bell and you put all notifications on, and then you just would see our tweets.
Oh, okay.
The more you know.
Everyone out there, you should do that.
That's right. I think we're good. Let's break. Let's step aside for a moment. I want to make sure we have a few minutes for Ump Show at the finish line here. If they won't give us trades, we will give you awful calls, including perhaps the worst one of the year.
That was pretty bad.
That was bad. BetMGM Locks. I lost. AJ lost. Kratz pushed. Pat picks up a dub with the Mariners. Let's push forward. I want all 3 picks in these 3 minutes. I want to do something else next swing during the break. AJ, what do you got?
I'm going Sonny Gray over 18 outs because it's not going to be his last start in the Cardinal uniform, and Tyler Glasnow over 6.5 punchies because when he is right, he's been really good. He gets a lot of punchies, and the Reds will punch out for you. So that gets me to plus 147.
Nice. Kratz?
Over 8.5 in the Nats-Astros game. Jason Alexander versus Mike Soroka. Astros hit the sinker pretty well, so he's going to need to go up in the upstairs with that four-seamer a little bit. It doesn't really work too well sometimes.
Astros have lost 5 in a row.
And here's the problem: the Astros offense and the Nationals offense has disappeared for both teams.
Mhm.
So
That's why you
did
can
see
buy it.
Framber Valdez's? While we're on the Astros, go ahead, Scott, real quick. But did you see Framber Valdez's comments? We didn't talk about him.
Yeah, he called out the
Defense and where they were
alignment.
standing and all that stuff. Like I don't know. That's the best thing to do in the world.
Espada, his
I'll be
manager,
over.
bit back today on the radio. He said he's going to talk to him.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
What's your lock, Scott?
Royals, Seth Lugo just got paid, and he's facing Eric Fetty, who's probably been on a bunch of plane rides and ends up with Atlanta against a KC team that desperately needs to pick up wins here. So KC at home since the All-Star break, hitting right-handed pitching well. Atlanta's offense generally has been terrible this year. I know they had a nice night yesterday, but I could see Lugo doing the 9-pitch menu slice and dice tonight to celebrate. So I've got Lugo.
Okay.
And I my only real lock is that Framber Valdez and Joe Espada are going to have a conversation today.
Yes, no kidding.
I'll take the over.
He was like, well, I don't understand why they weren't like. What was it Josh Bell Bell scored, but he was like, I don't understand where we're playing. Well, dude, he like shanked whoever, I forget who hit it, but they like shanked it in the corner. Like it was one of those. It was just a bad swing.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's baseball.
I know.
That's just
Anyway,
how it works. All right, no matter where the action is, BetMGM will supercharge the odds on your next sports bet. Use an odds boost token to boost your potential payout from a winning bet. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Coming up next, Ump Show. It's been a minute. Which was supposed to be recited by home plate umpire Brian Walsh in Baltimore yesterday as a pitch went straight down the pipe. Middle pitch. Middle pitch. Was it framed well? No. Do we care? No. Ump Show during trade deadline week has to be so bad that it gets a few minutes. Anyone have something good on this?
we missed it. Mistakes happen. You
But
never made
middle,
mistake,
middle?
Mr. Scott?
Tons of mistakes.
Okay.
Middle? Aren't the mistakes like at least a little bit towards a corner or an edge? Middle? We don't see middle off.
And the old excuse was, well, you were set up away and they threw it back over the other side, which is the worst excuse ever. Or you didn't catch it that good. Like, why does it matter how I catch it?
What if he blinked during
It
that
happens.
one moment?
What if a bug stung him, bee stung him like Miguel Franco?
That's
Or
right.
not Miguel Franco,
Garcia.
Miguel Garcia, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I had that happen to me once too, but I hurt like hell in the middle
You
of the
got
game.
stung by a bee during the game? And then you kept going?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
They didn't take you out?
what do I look like?
Well, Red Sox had a
From
rocky
New
flight
Jersey?
yesterday. A bunch of guys were messed up from the flight, apparently. You see that?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure
Wait,
it was
what?
real
Didn't see that.
bumpy.
Wait, what?
Red Sox had some turbulence on their flight, and then Alex Cora was like, supposedly turbulence, so guys aren't feeling well. You didn't see all that?
No, I missed all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's got to be one of the worst things.
Guys don't get IVs in the clubhouse. IVs in the clubhouse because of turbulence.
No, that would be for dehydration. Dehydration in the air is usually caused
Wait.
by...
What? Wait. My earpieces aren't working. What?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
Yeah,
They
some
ran
Red
Red
Sox players
Sox-
weren't feeling well.
They ran into weather. They had to land in Detroit because there was weather going into Minnesota. So a flight that left at 7 didn't get into Minnesota till 1 because they landed in Detroit. So they had some time to kill in Detroit, and then they had to stay on the plane, and they had to get back up in the air, land a bird somewhere else, get back up in the air, and then they landed in Minnesota at 1 a.m. And then the next day, yesterday, there was some guys who were pretty banged up from the tough flight, and Alex Cora said, I'm not sure what happened. I was sleeping, and we got there, and I go, whoa, it's 1 a.m. He said, I'm not sure if everybody's going to be available tonight because of the tough turbulence on our flight in.
Well, they got in at 1 a.m.? I can understand if they got in at 6 a.m. 1 a.m.? 1 a.m.
AJ.
That's it? I mean, Alex, I love you, but come on, dog.
Well, no, it's not
AJ.
Alex. He was kind of calling them out. Wait, I'll give you the direct quote from Alex Cora, manager of the Red Sox. Okay, rough flight last night, very rough for them. I don't know. I slept through it, but there were a lot of people banged up after that flight.
AJ.
Listen, I've been on a lot of flights.
There you go. Thank you. You say,
I've been on a lot of flights.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yep.
Okay, I've been on flights where we couldn't get places because of weather. I've been on flights where the plane's broken, we can't take off, and we sit there for hours on the runway. I've been on flights where we get in at 6 a.m. and play that night. But I've never had a rough enough flight to where people had to get IVs and couldn't play.
Get in at 1 a.m., then you have a night game.
Yeah, that's like early for a lot of places.
That's
awesome. We used to play at 7, fly across country, get in 4 or 5 in the morning, and people were banged up, but not because of turbulence. They were banged up for other reasons.
Have you seen any plane flight that the turbulence has been that bad?
I mean, I've had some where you're gripping. You're white knuckling it. You're like, oh, Nelly, I've landed. I had emergency landing once, and I was like, oh, shoot.
And dudes are puking because of the turbulence.
I mean, I've seen guys get sick because there's guys that are deathly afraid to fly. Like, deathly afraid.
Absolutely. Did they play the next day?
Of course. There wasn't even – because it's like being seasick. As soon as you hit land, it normally goes away pretty quickly. When you're seasick, because I get seasick, but I still like to fish, but I'm a little bleh. Then as soon as I hit land, it goes away like that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a concussion, and ever since I get motion sickness sometimes.
So you're saying all the Red Sox had a concussion?
No, but my thing is, it goes away after an hour or two, not 12 hours later. No, wait, even more than that. 1 a.m. Game was at what, 7 p.m.? 16,
7 Central.
18 hours later.
8 Eastern.
Long time later. Anyway.
I don't know. Wow. That is wow.
Things took a turn, but
Jeremy,
our players
are super excited.
Maybe we didn't know the players as well as we knew the players. We thought we knew the players.
Is there any chance that someone had a cocktail and that could mess you up?
I don't know. I'm not on the plane flight.
No, Scott. I wasn't on the plane.
Okay. Next up on Ump Show, Juan Soto was the most fired up he's been the entire season, according to people that cover the team every day. He went after, who was it, behind the plate?
Dylan Cease?
No.
I don't know.
The home plate ump.
I don't know who it was.
I didn't see who it was.
I did. I'm just forgetting his name. Emil? Does that sound familiar?
Emil?
Oh, Jimenez?
I think so.
Jimenez?
Someone will look it up for us.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, EMIL. Because post-game, Carlos Mendoza was like, yeah, no way to sugarcoat it.
Emil Jimenez.
He was off. Emil Jimenez. So that's the 2-1 pitch that drove Soto nuts. And then the called strike 3 was closer. It still was probably a tick off the plate. There you go.
That's a strike,
that's
dude.
Close.
That's in the box.
He was pissed about the 2-1. The 2-1 was off the plate. But then later in the game, he gets a pitch pretty far off the plate vertically. Do you think that at that point they were like, all right, there it is. Screw this guy.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah.
This guy's going to complain. I'm calling everything. Right, Kratz? Oh, this guy complains all the time. Watch this. I'll show him. It happens.
Oh. And not necessarily with the young guys, not the young umpires, but the older guys, they love that. You need to go back. And we had DJ Stewart on. DJ Stewart got called out on a pitch that was this far off the plate with Aroldis Chapman throwing 100. And Bill Miller was like, he goes, strike 3. Every other time he's like, strike 3. That time it was great. I mean, he totally just like sarcastically struck him out to end the game. And DJ was like, I shouldn't have argued.
I mean, he got 10 calls wrong the whole game. That's kind of average. Only 3 misses on called ball accuracy and 7 misses on called strike accuracy. It's just ones that stood out and happened to affect the highest paid player in baseball.
Juan Soto's going to get the ABS Challenge System sponsorship. So's Cal Raleigh. Those guys know the strike zone, and they're just going to be like, hey, $1,000 every time I get your ABS Challenge System to go up on that scoreboard over there. Boop, boop, boop.
Good. It'll be great theater. I can't wait for that. A game like last night, you think players aren't going to get into it with umps? Yesterday's a perfect example. Soto's going to be head tapping all day. Ump's going to get pissed, especially if he's always right.
Yeah.
Guys there's umps with egos. Not as many as there used to be, but there's some, right? Yeah. Imagine if you're an ump and you get head tapped next year for the ABS Challenge System and you're wrong like 12 times. And it's just constant challenges going on because you don't lose them unless you lose the challenge.
You know what?
So if an ump's having a bad game, it's going to get interesting.
AJ, maybe you look at it differently, but I look at Brian Walsh, the guy who missed it right down the middle. I look right at their body language. That dude, if you watch the highlight, he just stood there and didn't move. Yep.
Yeah, he knew it. He made a mistake.
He knew he made a mistake.
Not even Scott.
And that's how you know. To me, that's how you know when you have or umpires I liked. The ones who were like, man, Kratz, I kicked that one, didn't I? I'm like, yeah, you did. And the hitter's like, doesn't say anything. Then they know it. And some of them, they spend like the rest of the game apologizing. It's like, just, hey, lock into the next one.
Hey, we contribute to the BetMGM The Roar blog, and our latest post is up there. Fastest MLB players by position. The one I was most surprised to see was that Byron Buxton still has the edge at center field, being that we have Chandler Simpson in the game. Remember when we were talking about Simpson during his time in the minors and then his debut, we're like, oh, it's going to be the fastest guy like ever. He's not. Buxton has him beat.
Yeah, that's not fair. That's his superpower.
It is.
Take a man's superpower away because Byron Buxton could play linebacker, and he's as fast as Simpson. Yeah, but that's also saying Shohei Ohtani's one of the top 5 fastest players in the game. He's also one of the top 5 hardest starting pitchers. Oh, and he hits the ball top 5 hardest of anybody in the big league. So, you got to take each of these stats with a little bit of grain of salt. But I love these speed stats because I'm pretty sure I can beat Scott in a sprint right now.
I'm pretty sure you can too, but Shea Langoliers would beat us both. He is the fastest catcher by sprint speed in baseball. He only has 4 stolen bases, so he doesn't really take advantage of it.
He was hurt for a while too.
Yeah, he was hurt. He's faster than the fastest first baseman, who's Spencer Steer, who obviously plays multiple positions, but he qualified, I guess, for this one.
Where's Rowdy on this list?
We didn't do slowest. We did fastest. But if you want to see the rest of the names, we're not going to give them all away. Obviously, you can look them up, or you can go to one place to see who are the fastest players by position in Major League Baseball according to StatCast. They'd have to measure at least 100 competitive runs. So if it's some rookie who's been up for 5 minutes, then he might not be on there. But other than that, go check it out on the Roar blog.
Most of these are not surprising.
No.
I was the fastest to get DFA'd.
We might do an article on that. Eugenio Suarez not in the lineup today.
That's because his hand's sore.
Okay.
Just giving him a day.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
Okay. Just making sure. He's okay. We didn't hear anything else, just not playing today. If I was them, I'd be like, well, do you have to play him one more game?
No.
You can just sit him and trade him now?
Get him in a bat.
Get him in a bat. Okay. Just so people see he's fine. Yeah. because he's going to get a nice return package for them.
Mhm.
I'll spend the last couple minutes here honoring the late, great human being and Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg, who passed away, lost a battle with cancer, 65 years old, gone way too soon. Legendary ball player, former MVP, 9 straight Gold Gloves, 10 consecutive All-Star selections, 5-tool, great dude.
Yeah. I mean, I only met him a couple times. Kratz might have known him a little bit better than me, but just a great person, man. I told this story. I did Colin Cowherd today, and they asked me about this, and I said, I grew up in Florida. We didn't have a team. We had the Braves on TBS, and during the day when I get home from school, we had WGN. So I got to watch all the Cubs games, and I was pumped when I came home and got to watch the Cubs, even though I was never a Cubs fan. But I got to see Ryne Sandberg, and that was his prime years through all that. And one of the best players I ever saw, one of the best people I ever met. And just prayers to his family. And, man, everyone thought he beat cancer, and then it came back rapidly and was gone too fast. So it's been a rough couple of weeks in Chicago for people passing away way too soon. And, Rhino, you'll be missed, buddy.
He will totally be missed. And I won't even talk anything about baseball, the fact that he was my manager in AAA, the year that basically transitioned my career from a minor leaguer to a big leaguer. But I'll talk about the fact that my daughter was born in 2012, and his wife, Margaret, and him, just the outpouring of love that he showed to me, a player that he only managed for 1 year, and then continued that relationship all the way on through the end of my career and post days. Anytime I'd come into Chicago, I'd always hit him up. This is a guy, him and his wife, that made me and my wife feel loved and cared for in the clubhouse, outside of the clubhouse, in the wives' room, just incredible human beings. And that's not even talking about, what he did on the field, but he'll be sorely missed and is way too soon.
RIP to Ryne Sandberg. Tough day, tough night to hear the news yesterday. And Kratz, you said, and now we're staying on for an extra minute or two here for the YouTube crowd. You got to spend some time actually playing under him as a skipper.
Yeah. At AAA, your managers can be you're whatever, I just want to get out of here and I want to be in the big leagues. He understood that part of it because he was actually trying to work his way back up through the minor league system to be a manager again in the big leagues. It didn't work out in the big leagues as a manager, whether it was the team they put around him, whether it was how he, connected with the team, whatever it is. What he did for me and a couple of my teammates down in AAA, he made me realize that you could be a superstar, that you could come back and work at what you want to accomplish, and you can also be a real human being. I didn't get to spend more time around any Hall of Famer more than I did around Ryne Sandberg and his wife Margaret, and I say them, in conjunction, to the point where 2018 we were playing the Cubs, and obviously they bring him back, and Margaret and him were sitting in the stands. They got to sit next to my wife, who was cheering for the Brewers, and they couldn't have been more happy for my family, for me, that we won the game. Obviously, being a Cubs ambassador, being a Cubs fan, they wanted the Cubs to win. They wanted the Cubs to win badly. And yet, that connection for me made it feel oh, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. You forget that he was a Hall of Famer. You forget that he had all those accolades because of how down to earth and human he was. I mean, I really, there's a couple coaches and managers that I really credit the opportunity I had to spend as much time in the big leagues as I did, and he is by far one of them. He's up there in the top 5 for sure.
I'm with you, man. Great player for kids to watch, obviously, if you were lucky enough to be able to watch him when he was playing. Just model example in the game on and off the field. So we're thinking about Ryne Sandberg's family today, and that's how we'll say bye to everyone on FT. Lastly, Northside Territory put out an episode, our Cubs show, dedicated to Ryne Sandberg. So if you want more from the guys who cover the team every day and have more stories and insight from people around the Cubs over the past 24 hours, then go there, search it on YouTube or wherever you get your pods to learn more about Ryne Sandberg and to reminisce. FT fam, we'll see you tomorrow.